Number one, she's dead, clear enough. There is male DNA on that door and multiple fingerprints. Our crime lab is yours.
This is 54-year-old Roger Carroll, convicted of murdering his wife and mother of 4, Bonnie Woodward.
Well, anyway, yeah, my mom, she's like, oh my God, did you do this? I'm like, Mom, no, I didn't do it. No, there's no way that my fingerprints are on that car door or my DNA is on that car door. There just is no way.
Deal with this.
So when do I get to talk to my attorney?
On June 25, 2010, Woodward vanished from her workplace parking lot after her shift. Her red Chevy Avalanche was found abandoned with its windows down, something her family said she would never do. The first major break came when Carroll's fingerprints were found on her truck, and witnesses described a man matching his description talking to her that day. Despite the evidence, Carroll denied everything. But the case went cold until 2018, when Carroll's own son, Nathan, then 24, testified that his father forced him to help burn Woodward's body in a backyard fire and then shovel her ashes into a creek. In the end of this chilling interrogation, you will find out his sentence.
Chicken was good, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, we took the bathroom break. But when we started this morning, you said the helicopter started flying over. You saw that, I guess, right away?
Well, I heard it at 6-ish, quarter to 6 or 6-ish.
Did you think that was related to you, or just wondering what that's about, or?
Then I kept hearing it, and I went outside and seen it, flying circles, around our house, and I was like, oh. And then last Friday, the 24th, an airplane flew over about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So would have been related to us or not?
Circling the house. But
a little suspicious, I guess, how you're thinking. Okay. But as far as this morning, just to reiterate, we came out. You didn't know that we were coming, obviously. I mean, other than the helicopter and the airplane, I guess. But did you? Your son left, and then you guys left, and you contacted me. I just want to make sure for my notes that I got this straight. That I contacted you. We took you off to the side. I let you know your Miranda rights. We went over, and then we kind of basically just walked you through the scenario. For the record, that you asked about the dog hits. The dogs hit on a dirt shovel, and I guess a hard rake in the I know for sure a dirt shovel, and one of the four-wheeler's back tires. I don't know what that means. They'll probably just end up swabbing all that stuff, doing DNA analysis on it, and then a couple different spots in your wooded area they've hit on, which is going to require some digging. So anyway, there's a good chance we'll be there overnight.
did they tear the house up?
I don't think so. I told them to go as easy as they could. That you were being, you were talking to me and being reasonably cooperative, and I didn't really want them to, the problem is if the dog hits, and I think they're going to do the last thing because they're doing DNA analysis of your house, taking hair samples and tapings off all the furniture. So I don't think they wanted to run the dogs in there first because then they'd have some dog hair. So I think they wanted to do their thing in the house first with their CSI people, do all the tapings, do all the swabs, do all the fingerprint dusting, and then do the dog at the last. So what I'm saying is that dog through the house is probably going to be one of the last things that they do. Anyway, so your account, basically, I read your Miranda earlier, and we went over that. Basically, that on that day you came back from Goreville, you came with Nathan, and you stayed on your property until you guys went to dinner somewhere that evening. Is that roughly what happened? You don't recall any time that you went to Alton at all on that day, and your gray car was there on that day, but you guys brought the Envoy and the boat back. Is that right? Yeah. You from Goreville, you and Nathan. Leaving Heather and your wife down with the in-laws.
Yes.
And you came back that day because there was a pending family feud or something that was about to go bad, and you didn't really want to be there when it happened. We don't need to get into that, but and it just happened to be the day that Bonnie disappeared. And for the most part, you recall cutting brush that day, is that?
And doing some mowing. I think I did some mowing.
Okay.
Worked out in the woods.
Right.
That type of thing.
Then Nathan would have been inside?
Yeah, it was real hot that day.
Okay.
And he was inside.
Did he stay inside most of the day while you were?
Most of it, yeah. He was really tired and all that kind of stuff. And so
That's
anyway. Yeah.
similar to the way my kid does it. It's real hot, he stays inside and I work out. I don't know how that works out that way, but it seems to be pretty consistent behavior. Anyway, so you don't recall anything particularly unusual? You didn't borrow your dad's car that day? Which your dad has a silver Malibu also, right?
That's correct.
And you have a silver Malibu?
That's correct.
And that would have been parked there yours would have been parked at your house all day that day. And in fact, when you guys went to Goreville, that Malibu stayed back at the house.
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as Bonnie, you've never had a conversation with that woman, and you've never been face to face with that woman. You know where she lives, but you've never, other than you've driven by there, but 2 times, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And the first time you drove by her residence would have been after Heather's graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And on that particular day, you just stopped long enough for Heather to get out of the car, and then you drove on.
Yes.
And then the second time you went by there would have been the day you picked up Heather from Miss Sheffel's house, which is in the same neighborhood, I guess. And just by happenstance, you drove by Bonnie's house that day with Heather on your way back to your house.
Yes.
Okay, never stopped, never had any contact with her. Okay. You've never been in an argument with Bonnie? She's never been in your vehicles?
That's correct.
She's never been in your dad's vehicle? Okay. She's never been in your envoy? And you've never been in her vehicle? Right? And you've never had occasion to handle her vehicle or touch her vehicle?
That's correct.
Okay. And you do know what she drives, but you don't know if you've ever really seen it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what does she drive?
A red Avalanche.
Okay. And on the 2 occasions you've had a chance to drive by her house, not sure if that's been there or not?
I can't recall.
Okay. Because you were just, one time you didn't stop at all, and the other time you just stopped long enough for Heather to get out.
Right.
Okay. And that's the only time that you would have had a chance to see it, I guess. And she hasn't ever seen your vehicle that you know of. And either, not to be redundant, but never been inside either of your dad's or your Malibus?
That's correct.
Or any of your vehicles?
That's correct.
Okay. And she's never been in your house? I know some of this is overkill, but I want to make sure that I'm accurate. And you were never on that parking lot of the Unismith Nursing Home? And do you, even in your career as what you do with, help me, what do you do again? You read ultrasounds. I guess there's been no part of your job that would have caused you to be on the lot of that nursing home ever? You know what I mean? Like even as a part of your job?
No, I mean, one time I think, well, I can recall one time, my gosh, this was 20 years ago when I worked at St. Anthony's. Me and a coworker just took a walk at lunch, and we walked down that road and turned around and came back. I mean, and my gosh, that was, I don't know, 15 to 20 years ago.
Okay. And you were working at St. Anthony's then?
Yeah.
So you walked down College?
Yeah.
Over to that and then turned around and came back?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So certainly on June 25th, you were not on that lot. You, your gray car, and you would have never had an occasion to contact Bonnie Woodward on that parking lot? And certainly wouldn't have seen her vehicle in that parking lot because you weren't there. Okay. Did you ever have calls back and forth from Bonnie Woodward, like her yelling at you, any kind of disagreements with? You've never had a conversation with her?
No.
Okay. What about emails with the computer? Never had any conversations like that with her?
I never. Now, I'm not an email person. I don't do the computer thing. To my knowledge, like I said, my wife does the email thing. Now, whether or not, well, I don't think they did because I would have heard about it. You know what I'm saying? Bonnie would have said something, hey, Bonnie, call me a bitch or whatever.
But really, your association with Bonnie is almost non-existent, according to you, right? I mean, you have met Heather almost a year ago through church,
Right.
And then you saw her, I guess, routinely at church or regularly, or?
Yeah, we would go to church on Sunday mornings,
Okay.
and that's where we would see her.
Okay. And I guess you become somewhat friendly with her, and she apparently at some point became attracted to your son. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Okay. But she's probably more interested in your son than she was you guys, but you guys were still relatively friendly with her?
Oh, we were friendly with her. I mean, just, I don't know, talking about careers in school and, you need to go to college, be sure you go to college and that kind of stuff,
Did she complain to you about the treatment she was getting from Bonnie, like way back then, when you first met her, or did it take a while? Or?
It wasn't, of course, right off, time frame. I don't really.
Was she talking to your son more about it than you, or do you know? Do you remember when she first brought it up? Did you hear it through your son, or, oh, excuse me. It's not a huge deal.
May have heard it from I think the lady that does the church route, she had said, she's in a bad situation, her stepmom's a kook or whatever.
Right.
That's how we first heard about it, and
Okay.
then just kind of started just maybe overly observing and
Paying attention to it then?
yeah.
So, really though, she never stayed at your house up until this runaway situation occurred when
Correct.
when her mom, she runs away, runs to Sheffel's house. At some point, stepmom says that's not cool anymore, and she wants her to return. So then Heather calls you guys,
Yes.
kind of as the backup plan. She'd been staying with Christine Sheffel,
Yes.
and then you guys are the backup plan.
Yes.
Okay. And then so she calls you, whatever night that was, and says, "Hey, I can't stay here anymore." Is that,
Yeah.
Did she talk to you or Monica?
Monica, and I could hear her talking. I mean, I could hear her crying. She was just frantic,
Right.
Oh my God, Bonnie called and said that she's going to come get me tomorrow. That I have to pack my stuff up, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And
Right. Okay. So she kind of played on your soft hearts and said, "Can I come stay there?" I guess when it got down to it, she's asking if she can come stay, I guess.
she never said, "Can I come stay?" Just to be honest about it, I'm the one who said, "Hey, this is a bunch of crap. Why don't we just go? She can stay with us."
Okay. Okay.
I'm the one that said that.
Okay. And that's, I mean, if you're really, I agree with you, if your intent is to take care of a kid that's in a bad spot, I mean, I don't think anybody can, deny that that's an admirable thing. I mean, now, whether or not her situation was as bad as she suggested to you that it was is up for debate.
I don't know.
But at that point, anyway, she convinced you that, hey, I need help, and you reached out to her and said, okay, we'll come get you. I guess you said, we'll come get you tomorrow? Is that?
That night. I mean, I said, "We'll come and get you right now."
Oh, okay.
So this was like, it's about midnight.
Okay, so that's when you went down there?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's when you'd have swung by, picked her up at Sheffel's, I guess? Was I think we covered this already. Was Christine there when you got there? She talked to Christine then?
Yeah.
And I guess she's like, look, I'd like to keep her, but I can't. I'll lose my job, that kind of thing? Or did she? I think what happened was, once the police got involved with the run, Sheffel's like, look, I'd like to help, but I can't do this anymore. And, whatever. So you talked to Christine briefly, and Christine was good with it. And then you guys took her back home that night?
You mean to our house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that was at about midnight on whatever that, I don't know what the date was.
Yeah.
It seems like it's June 17th, I don't know if I got their dates right or not, but. Was there any talk about when she turned 18? Did you guys talk about that early on?
Oh, yeah.
We only got this for a little, we got a window of time.
Yeah, basically 17 days, it's all, just 17 days. When you turn 18, everything's cool and you can go wherever you want.
So it was down at that point, whatever date it was 17 days before her 18th birthday?
Yes.
Okay. So you're trying to just milk this along until she's a full-blown adult and she can do whatever she wants?
Yes.
Okay. So then when you pick her up from Sheffel's, that would have been the second time you would have went by Bonnie's house. And you did that because that's it, you just ended up wandering by the house because you're on the way out of there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's it, sometime after midnight.
Probably, I don't know, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. About.
Did you already know that was Bonnie's house, or did Heather just point out the window and says, that's Bonnie's house as you go by? Did you even remember, or why do you remember that?
Well, I just remember where she lived. I mean,
From dropping Heather off there
yeah.
a month earlier
And it wasn't a month. I mean, it was.
at the graduation party, whatever. I guess that would have been the first of June.
Yeah.
First week of June.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. So you just act. I don't know what street Shuffle lives on. Do you remember? Do
I can find it.
Do you know what street? Yeah, I could too, but I don't think I think I can. I've actually never been there. And that's the same with Bonnie's. You don't know what street that is, but you know you can get there.
Right.
And you didn't drive by there on purpose that day. You just happened to be leaving Shuffles and you ended up on that road on the way out. So you just zipped on by and there was no conversation. You didn't have any contact with Bonnie or that family I guess you wouldn't at that time of day anyway, right? So she already had all her stuff, right? She'd been living with Shuffle.
Yeah, most of her things was at Miss Shuffle's. She just brought a few things, just a few things. I mean, a little bag.
When you took her the first time?
Yeah.
So how did you get the rest of the stuff from Shuffle's?
We didn't.
Oh, you never did?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So most of Heather's belongings were at Christine Shuffle's house?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you get her, you go back to your house. How long did then you stay there before, at some point in time you decided to go to the in-laws? Or I know she basically stayed with you for a while, right? Like we had a conversation about her picking beans and, picking stuff out of the garden, and which is maybe one of the first clues that you got that maybe she wasn't as abused as what she suggested, because your wife suggested, hey, why don't you get out here and help pick some beans, and she got a little angry about it.
Well, she didn't get angry. It wasn't like confrontational. It was just like, you're just like Bonnie. One of them kind of things.
Right. Now you're thinking, just like Bonnie, all we wanted you to do is pick beans?
Right. Yeah. So it's like, man, it's like, if this is what you call abuse, then, oh,
right.
God, maybe we...
Right. Maybe we should have been so compassionate, maybe, I don't know.
The subject recounts how Heather, the runaway teen, compared his wife to Bonnie, the missing woman. This moment is psychologically revealing for two reasons. First, it shows that the subject is aware of a parallel between his own household's expectations and Bonnie's alleged controlling behavior. Second, he uses it to imply that Heather may have exaggerated the abuse, saying, maybe we shouldn't have been so compassionate. This is a subtle attempt to reframe his own actions as naive rather than culpable, while also distancing himself from the victim.
So how long did she, and when you took her in, you kind of took her in as part of the family, and you took her even to your own father's place for, what'd you say, Father's Day or something?
Yeah.
And I guess nothing significant happened there. Do you remember when you first took her to Goreville? And what was the reason?
Gosh. We was on vacation that week. Me and Mike was both off. We was on vacation, so we went down to go, like boating and stuff like that.
Okay, so it was really just a vacation. It wasn't, you're not necessarily trying to hide her out down there.
Right.
You're going on vacation to the in-laws.
Right.
Took the boat. And then that's the day you would have left that. What day did you go down on that vacation? Do you remember? Like, I know you stayed, I know when you came back, but I don't know when you went down.
I think it was that Monday, I think.
So you were down there a whole week and then you came back Saturday morning? Is that right? I know you came back Saturday morning, but.
Was it Friday morning?
Oh.
Friday.
Yeah, it was a Friday. You're right. It was Friday morning. June 25th, that's the day you came back, but.
Yeah. I think it was Friday, I think.
Okay. But you were down there Monday through Friday, and then you're planning on staying longer, but something happened down there with Heather and your son and Grandma, and it looked like it wasn't going to be pleasant.
Yeah.
So you decided to take Nathan and bail out.
Correct.
Okay. And basically that's, Heather was wanting a relationship with Nathan, and Grandma wasn't really digging that idea. So you thought you'd eliminate half the problem and take Nathan home.
Right, yeah, just separate them, get the two of them apart to, just, like I said, just get rid of two problems. First of all, the deal with Heather and Nathan, and then also the confrontation with my mother-in-law.
Right. Which you compared to, what's her name?
Marie.
Marie, yeah. Everybody loves Raymond. Yeah, I like that. I haven't met her.
Don't tell her.
I won't. I haven't met her, but I did. My sergeant has, so it's kind of funny. But okay, so you guys come back. You leave relatively early that morning, and get. How long a drive is that?
3.5 hours, about.
Okay, that's pulling a boat. Or you pulled the boat back, right? And so you would. I think you told me earlier that you thought you came home around 10 o'clock in the morning.
It probably would have been a bit later than that, probably, but ballpark.
I know we're talking about something from 3 months ago too. So and so you get home, then you got the envoy and the boat. The gray car has been left there the whole week while you're on vacation, and you've left your wife and Heather with the blue car. What kind of car is that?
Cobalt.
A Cobalt. Okay. So then you come home. Nathan, you said he was tired or wasn't feeling great. He went in the house and you went out doing sawing wood, mowing, whatever you were doing, primarily outside in the woods, and would have stayed there the majority of the day until, like, did you stay out there till it was dark? Or?
Well, probably not, because at that time of the year, you know, it doesn't get dark till 8:30. So probably, I don't know, 5 o'clock-ish.
And you suggested to me earlier you think you came home, cleaned up, and you guys went out somewhere to eat. Because you eat out a lot. Don't particularly remember where you went on that particular day, but you don't eat at home much, especially I guess when the wife's gone,
right.
you're eating out. Similar. So that's the way we do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we don't know if you went to Brighton or Jerseyville or wherever you went to eat, you don't remember? I assume you go one direction or the other.
Yeah, and sometimes we go to Alton.
Okay.
You know, Steak and Shake down there or something like
Okay.
that.
Do you remember, I asked you earlier, you made a phone call to your dad from Goreville the night before you left. That was around 9 p.m. Do you remember? That would have been to your dad's house. You don't remember what that was about?
I don't remember. I mean, probably it was, hey, how's everything going? You know, anybody broke in the house? You know,
Right.
that kind of stuff. Is Boots okay? You know.
Okay, that Boots is your dog.
Yeah.
And so it certainly wasn't about borrowing his car. You didn't have a conversation about his car. And then you followed that phone call up with a call the next morning to the barber shop, which would have been, I guess that's Friday morning, on the 25th. You called him on the 24th at 9 o'clock at night, and you called him again on the 25th in the morning. He's at the barber shop. Apparently that's where you called from your cell phone. Do you remember?
I don't remember that.
Do you call him at the barber shop much? I mean, is that unusual for you to call him at the barber shop?
Well, I don't like to bother him when he's working, you know what I'm saying? So I don't remember that conversation. I don't remember.
I guess sometimes if he's busy, he wouldn't be able to have much of a conversation. But if there's nobody in the shop, I guess he could talk to you all day. It would.
I mean, I may have said, hey, you know, we're back, or we're coming back. Don't go out and take care of the dog. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Do you remember, we asked you earlier about, apparently you suggested to him earlier that you were going on vacation in Michigan or Minnesota or someplace when you went to Goreville. Was that just so you didn't want him to go, you were no one to Goreville? Or what was the purpose of that? Is there a short story there?
Well, yes, we had Heather.
Right.
We wanted to keep Heather away from law enforcement.
Right.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So just, hey, we're going to, I don't know what I told him, what did I tell him, Wisconsin or something?
Somewhere up north.
Okay.
Somewhere north.
Something like that, just to say, hey, you know, we're, you know.
Is it that's because you didn't want him to think that you were doing something with Heather? Or what? Why? I guess what I'm saying is, why don't you tell him you're going to vacation to Goreville? Why do you say Wisconsin?
Well, we had been up to Wisconsin Dells a couple times and had a lot of fun, and just to, if the law enforcement asked him, hey, where's Heather, where's your son, do you know anything about this? Oh, I don't know, they went up to
Wisconsin. Okay, I got you. I wasn't following you the first time you said that. I got it. A little dense. Okay.
That's all right.
So you're going to tell your dad something, so your dad, even if the cops come to him, he's just going to tell him what he knows, which is what you told him. They'd be barking up the wrong tree. They'd be going one way and you'd be with the other. Okay. Do you remember when you told him that? Like it would have been prior to the trip, I guess, but like I guess when you call him on the 24th at 9 o'clock at night, Does he still think you're in Wisconsin? Or did you ever tell him the truth and say, hey, Dad, I told you a little white lie, we didn't really go up there, we went that way? Or does he still think you went to Wisconsin?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. And you have borrowed your dad's car in the past. In fact, you said the last time you borrowed it is when we had your car down here. When you gave us your car, you were cooperative, said, hey, do with it what you want. And while we had your car down here, you borrowed your dad's Malibu then.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily unusual. Do you remember when you would have borrowed it before that? I mean, did you borrow it all in, like, for instance, the month of June this year?
No.
I don't think so.
No, it would have
Maybe
been.
you would have borrowed it in
Much.
July after we had your, whatever time period that was, we had your car for a few days, and you borrowed your dad's car then to drive back and forth to work.
Yes.
And that's usually what you use your great silver Malibu for, work?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, and so anyway, you get back, you told your folks that story, that you went to Goreville, you came back early because whatever was going on down there, and you guys went to dinner that night, whatever you got done cutting in the woods. I asked you earlier about a text that allegedly went from Nathan to your wife, and Nathan saying Dad went to Alton for some business. You don't remember going to Alton that day for any purpose. And you came back from Goreville that day sometime after 10 o'clock, stayed at home all day until you would have left in the evening hours to go get something to eat. Did anything happen, like after you guys ate that night? Did anything else happen? Probably calling the wife down there to say, hey, when you guys coming? Did you do any of that? I don't have your phone records in front of me, so I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if you did or you didn't.
I don't know. I don't recall.
Okay. And do you remember when your wife and Heather returned?
It was the next day.
Okay. And that next day then would have been Saturday, right? Do you remember what time of day they got home?
It was late in the afternoon.
They come in the Cobalt, the
Yes.
blue car.
Yes.
Okay. And Heather at this point does not know that her mom is now missing, or stepmom, Bonnie.
That's correct.
Right. And you made a conscious decision not to tell her that, and can tell me that again, why you didn't really want her to know that?
Well, we did not believe that she was truly missing. I mean, we just figured it was a ploy to get Heather to surface, come out of hiding.
Okay. So you didn't even want to bring it up because you thought it was nonsense, I guess, to begin with. And so you maybe thought that maybe it is a ploy to get her out of hiding, and you don't even want to give the plan a chance to happen. Maybe it'd work, right? If you tell her. So you don't even tell her. And do you know when you decided to tell her? Or do you remember when you told her, or how she found out finally?
Yeah, it was her birthday, July 3rd.
Let me back up then. So she stays at your house, and then at some point in time, you guys decide to take her back to Goreville then. Like, they come back on Saturday, and then I think it's your wife that takes her back. Pretty quick, right? Like, maybe the next day? Like, she doesn't stay at your house very long before you take her back to Goreville, right? And why, I guess, besides when, why she go back to Goreville? The law enforcement thing again, or?
Two things. First of all, she was being a little too friendly with Nathan, kind of hanging on him, wanting to be his girlfriend. And then the law enforcement thing, I think Monica seen a car follow her home or something and was suspicious of that instance.
Okay. So thinking maybe the cops are gonna show up here. Okay. So Monica then takes her back, whatever day that was. It was pretty quick. I can't. Did she stay then down there with the in-laws for?
Until that following Saturday.
Which would have been more than a week, right? Or, well, whenever the next Saturday, so about a week. She came back on Saturday. I'm sure you guys didn't take her back that same day. It would have been at least Sunday or Monday, probably would.
It may have been Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday-ish,
Okay.
maybe.
When Monica then packed her back up and said, you're going to go stay with her mom, I guess.
Yes.
I guess Grandma was okay with that? Grandma's probably okay with separating those two.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, what's Nathan think about that?
About what?
About Heather staying or not staying? I mean, does he want her to stay up here? Or does he want her to, you said earlier that she's maybe a little bit into Nathan, but Nathan ain't so much into her, right? So is he okay with you guys shipping Heather back down to Grandma's?
Yeah.
He didn't mind it, so he wasn't too emotionally attached? Okay. So, and then you do, does Nathan ride with Monica and Heather down to Goreville?
I don't think so.
I don't know if I know the answer to that either, I was just asking. Okay. So
So-
they go, she goes and drops her off, and then I guess she just waits down there. And the goal is to wait till she turns 18.
Yes.
And then when she turns 18, what happens then?
Then,
You know her birthday, right?
yeah, July 3rd,
Okay.
because that was the whole goal.
That was the 17th
It was the
day.
It was the countdown, you know.
17, okay. All
I
right,
mean,
so-
it was literally a countdown. Okay, 14 more days. Okay, 13 more days. Okay, 12, 10. All right, 2 more days, whatever. You know.
Okay, so you got to the magic day, which is July 3rd,
Yes.
and then what'd you draw the short straw and you had to go get her, or how'd that work?
I think Monica had to work that day. That's what it was. Monica had to work.
What day of the week was that? Was a Saturday? That was a Saturday, yeah. Okay, so you drive down, where did you drive, where'd you pick her up?
At a McDonald's at Nashville, Illinois.
Why there? You just make arrangements to meet somewhere halfway?
It's about halfway, yeah. Yeah.
Nashville is about halfway to Goreville?
About.
Okay. So, was Heather happy to come back?
Yeah. Yeah, she was, anxious to be able to, come out of hiding and see her friends and that kind of thing.
Who brought her there? Grandpa?
Yes.
Okay. Did everything go well while she was down there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she didn't cause them no problems?
No.
So, Nathan was with you?
Yes.
So then, sorry, keep kicking you. So then you and Nathan took her back, but you didn't take her back to your house this time?
No, we took her to the East Alton library.
And why did you do that?
Well, because she was familiar with the library. It was a place we could, stop.
You didn't want to take her to East Alton PD and say, here's your missing girl,
Right.
for obvious reasons.
So,
Okay.
and then we told her, look, as soon as you get in there, you go to the desk and you tell them that you Heather Woodward and you need to call the police and tell them that you're safe and,
And didn't really want her to drop you guys' names, just say, hey, I was safe, I was staying with friends.
Yes, that was the plan, is for us to just remain anonymous.
Right.
Hey, I was staying with friends, I was safe, now I'm 18, everything's cool.
Right, okay. And did you tell her on that day, then, which would have been July 3rd, did you tell her that day, hey, by the way, Bonnie's missing?
Yes.
And when did you tell her that?
Well, it would have been in the morning on our way, on our drive.
After you picked her up at McDonald's, just on the way back?
Yes.
How do you break something like to her? Just, hey, saw it on the news, or what'd you tell her?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that.
Okay. And how'd she take that?
She didn't show any emotions or didn't get frantic or anything. She was just kind of like, or that's weird, or I don't know, something
Okay.
to that nature.
What do you think? Do you think she's got any feelings for her stepmother at all, or do you have an idea?
I don't think so.
I mean, you don't think she? I mean, I don't know how long she's pretty much raised her, right?
I think she was 8 or 10 when
Okay.
her dad passed away.
Okay. Okay, but so Bonnie's kind of, since she's 8 or 10, she's been with Bonnie ever since then, but not been the best of stepdaughter-daughter relationships, I guess. Stepfather relationship. So she didn't ask any questions about it? Did you tell her you thought maybe it was a ploy to get her to return? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, did she think so too?
I don't recall any. I don't know how, if she said, oh yeah, I bet she did, or I just don't remember how she responded to that.
Did anybody ever think about calling the police and saying, hey, we think we're doing the right thing here, we're trying to take care of this girl, she's technically a runaway, we maybe need some advice here, or did that cross either Heather's mind or your mind or Monica? Did you ever have a family powwow on, oh, what's the best way to handle this situation, you know?
Sure.
I mean, boy, that's not a big deal. It's kind of, like, it led to a lot of problems for you.
It led to a tremendous amount of problems, yes.
And and you said to me last time we talked that, you know, Heather lied to me, or you think she was less than truthful with all of her propaganda, maybe.
I think some of it was exaggerated. I hate to say lied, because I hope that we wasn't totally lied to and played. But then maybe we was. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So, lose my train of thought. She basically she didn't overreact or show a big emotion on the news that her stepmother was missing. So you guys came home from Goreville or from the Nashville McDonald's. You took her to the library. You dropped her off and said, "Hey, just tell me you were safe. You were with friends." What significant happened after that? Did you have contact with her after that again? Did Christine Scheffel ever call you guys and say, "Hey, how'd that go with?"
Yes, that day, later in the day, I don't remember the exact time, Christine Scheffel called us and said that, he saw police released Heather, and Heather did tell him where she was, and
So she was kind of giving you a heads up that you might get contacted by the police.
well, she didn't say that, but I mean, obviously we knew that it was coming, you know what I mean?
Okay. So, did Nathan, when you guys brought her back, was she happy that, like, is this like a freedom day for her? Like,
Oh yeah, we had thought we would have like a big birthday party, like, hey, all right, Heather's 18, everything's cool. We thought we'd have like Christine Scheffel and then her best friend, I don't know her name, Sammy or something, Sammy Zippery. I think we was gonna have them like come out and have a party, you know what I'm saying? But obviously the mood wasn't conducive to that. I mean, it was a very, yeah, we made it to our date, we made it to the goal, but it wasn't a happy, joyous thing. It was like, oh crap, now what's gonna happen?
because you thought maybe law enforcement was going to be looking into this thing.
Sure, yeah.
And I guess coupled with the fact that Bonnie's now missing, you're thinking you might get some attention on that?
Oh yeah, because that's the first thing I told my wife is whenever somebody texted Monica and said that Bonnie was missing. I don't know if at that point they said it was a silver Malibu or we seen it on the news or what, but I was like, oh my God. Now they're gonna think.
Now I know they're coming.
Yeah.
All right. Like, okay, I generally fit the description. I got a silver Malibu. I got Heather. And I chose to come home on the day Bonnie disappeared. So you're thinking, okay, now the police are coming. And how long was it before we did come? Do you remember what date we came out and talked to you? Was that the next significant thing that happened? I guess you.
Yeah. It was. If I had a calendar, I could probably tell you the exact day.
You picked her up on July 3rd and dropped her off at the library.
It was either Sunday night or a Monday night.
It wasn't Sunday.
Okay.
Maybe it wasn't Monday.
Yeah, I don't. If I had a calendar, I might be able to pin it down.
Okay. So, okay. So that's pretty much the story, and not to beat a dead horse, but just to cover a couple of things we covered. That we're out there with dogs now. And I told you that they seem to have hit on a few things in your garage, shovels, dirt type. I don't know if it was a hard rake or leaf rake or some equipment in the garage. Any idea why they would be hitting on?
I have no idea.
Okay. And hit on some areas back in the woods off your property that we're going to be doing some excavation work, I guess. No idea why dogs would hit on. Did you bury anything other than Bonnie Woodward? Did you bury anything out there? Maybe a dog or something that, I don't know. Anything dead recently that is back there that you know of?
Not recently.
How long ago? I mean, you got anything For the record, these dogs are trained to hit on human dead odor, gases that come off of dead people. They're not supposed to hit on any other dead creature, but like I told you before, they're dogs. So if there's anything else, I don't know if you got anything else buried out there, but and we covered before, she has not been on your property. She's not been in your garage. She's not been in your kitchen, your house, any of your cars, and vice versa. You ain't been in her car, and you ain't been in her house.
That's right.
And I think we've covered that pretty well. You have had no contact with Bonnie or her car, and she's had no contact with you or your car.
That's correct.
Okay. And never had reason to. Heather, she's never, like, invited Bonnie out. Like, for instance, has Heather been at your house? Maybe you're at work doing your thing, and is there any chance that Heather would have, probably not because of the missing situation, there's no chance Heather or somebody else could have had Bonnie out at that house and you wouldn't have known about it?
I wouldn't expect, no. I mean,
Due to the circumstances, that would be very odd, I guess.
right.
And certainly Nathan wouldn't. Nathan, and I asked you before, do you think Nathan holds any grudge or is in any way angry at Bonnie Woodward over what Heather told him about that alleged abuse?
I don't think so.
Okay. Has he ever expressed to you that any kind of anger towards her, like, man, she screwed Heather up by beating on her, or mentally abusing her? Has he been in any kind of, what I'm suggesting, if he really cared for Heather, I would see how maybe he might be more than annoyed at Bonnie based on Heather's stories. Has he told you anything that would lead you to believe that was his feelings? Do you think doesn't have particular feelings for Heather?
No, he does not. No.
Even from talking to Heather, I'm not so sure that she still doesn't have feelings for Nathan.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
But that you don't think that was ever really true for Nathan?
No.
Okay. Have you ever buried anything on your property? Like
A dog. A couple of dogs and a cat.
okay, where would those be?
Oh gosh, I could show you. You know what I'm saying?
This is a bad drawing, but if this is your 40 and this is your long driveway and house, that's probably not the right spot, but
okay, let's see. The creek runs something like this. There's a trail up a big tall hill. Up on the top of that hill, about there, I buried a dog.
okay.
And then over here, I buried a dog. Somewhere over here.
This is on your property?
Yes. That valley, I buried a cat down there years ago. I mean, like I said, that's a long time ago.
Okay. All right. So, and this is all, this is a big hunk of CRP over here, right?
Yes.
Somewhere, well, I guess that goes all the way to the fence over there. But there's mostly this is all CRP?
Yes.
Okay. Never buried anything in there? Okay. Is there any wells on that property?
I don't think so.
I assume by now you've owned this hunk since when?
It's about 2005.
And this you've had quite a bit, this 18 you've had quite a bit longer? Okay. So probably if there had been a well somewhere, you'd probably know it by now.
I would think so, but I can't say for certain. I'm just saying I don't think so.
Have you ever used that bucket tractor to bury anything like what we just talked about? No? Most of those burials there, you just use a shovel? Have you noted, have Nathan ever buried anything out there? No. Okay. And you got a lot of guns in the house, right?
A few.
A few. I think you're, as far as I know, you're legal gun owners, right? You guys got void cards? Okay. And you target practice, I guess, routinely?
Some, not as much as I used to, because ammo's got just ridiculously high.
Were you doing that this morning, by the way?
No, no.
Did you hear gunshots behind your house?
We hear them once in a while. I mean, you just think, oh, somebody shot a squirrel or whatever, but no, I did not hear any gunshots.
Back on the weekend that this happened, on Fridays the 25th, Saturdays the 26th, and Sundays the 27th, do you remember on that particular weekend, were you and or Nathan doing any shooting out there?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Do you, I guess, assume normally you would shoot during the daylight hours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't shoot at night. No.
Have you ever?
Uh,
And you don't remember shooting that weekend?
no.
What do you usually target practice with, handguns or long guns or?
It depends. I mean, a little of each,
Shotguns too?
I'm not into the shotgun thing. Nathan is. Nathan's a lot better shot than I am with the shotgun. Sometimes we'll go out in the big field and I'll throw some blue rocks for him and I'll shoot him.
Out here this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna go double check with Brantley, make sure I got everything. I mean, is there anything else you want to tell me at all? Out there at the scene, I was stressing on you pretty hard that I wanted you to cooperate. That we really want this body. We really want to. We, from our understanding of Bonnie Woodward, from what we know about her from this investigation, granted I've never met the woman, but from this investigation, we have the opinion that she was rough, that she was loud, that she liked to drink, and that she was frequently in, maybe not frequently, but routinely in violent confrontations with boyfriends. Of one kind of, she has her boyfriends, and most of them are felons, and they got into some doozies. I suggested to you that I thought maybe that could have happened with you, where she got into a situation with you where you're trying to talk some reason to her or whatever, and she flies off the handle and something bad happens. She's been known to show that kind of temper. You're saying not only did that not happen, but I've never met the woman, and I wasn't in the parking lot that day. And you've got no knowledge of where that body would be and according to you, you're not even sure there is a body, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Because are you trying to lead me to believe that you think she's still alive?
I don't know what to believe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I read the police report that you gave to the attorney, and apparently there was, I don't know, a few sightings or people that called in, hey, I've seen her work at, with Applebee's at Kansas City.
Right. She's at LA on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what to believe. I just don't know.
Okay. Has Heather ever contacted you and asked you if you knew anything about her mother or stepmother's disappearance? Like said, hey, I know I told you some crazy stuff about my stepmom. You didn't do anything to her, did you? Heather's never approached you with that?
No.
Has your family ever said, hey, you didn't do this, did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're like
Well, like my mom. I mean, you guys talked to my mom and dad recently, right? This morning or yesterday?
we talked to them today.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, my mom, she's like, oh my God, did you do this? I'm like, Mom, no, I didn't do it. Just...
Yeah, I can imagine that would be what would happen to me too. Okay, so.
And then obviously my brother-in-law, which I didn't know he had any contact with Bonnie or ever knew her, he called you guys and said, hey, I think Roger Carroll did it because he's got silver Malibu and he fits the description and blah, blah, blah. Which I don't know if he dated her at one time or I don't know what the connection is there, but it was very,
For the record, I've never met that man.
Quite a surprise.
So, okay. Let me check with Brantley real quick, and then we'll finish up with you. You still got a full water here. I guess since you didn't finish your chicken, you don't want anything else to eat?
No,
You're
fine.
good?
I'm fine,
Okay.
thank you.
Do you need to go to the bathroom again?
Well, maybe I should, but am I gonna be in here a long
You
time?
might be for a few more minutes, but yeah, if you're like me, you probably need to go again, so.
I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
I'll go find him for you,
All
okay?
right.
Okay, you get tired, I'm tired, we're gonna run you over there, I'm gonna bounce a couple things off you real quick. So there's no reason those cadaver dogs would be hitting on anything human dead out there on that property that you know of, unless some Indians died there back in the 1800s, you wouldn't know about anybody dead on that property.
Right, that's correct.
Okay. And you've denied repetitively any kind of association with Bonnie or her car, your car, whatever. Any chance your fingerprints would be on Bonnie's car, on the driver's door, like all over it?
No, no way, no,
No chance?
no,
Okay. Any chance your DNA would be all over that driver's door?
no, no way.
And how do we explain it if it is?
Then I've been trained. I mean, no, there's no way that my fingerprints are on that car door or my DNA is on that car door. There just is no way.
Okay. Well, are you good with us taking a buccal swab of your DNA
Sure
to
you
compare
can.
to that
Sure you
DNA
can.
that's on that door?
You sure can, yes.
Okay, we will do that, and then we will take you across the hall. For the record, your obstructing justice charge is based on that very thing, that your prints are on that door, driver's door. So, anyway, we'll take a DNA swab and try to clear up the mystery with that. There is male DNA on that door, and multiple fingerprints confirmed by our crime lab as yours. So, anyway.
The detective delivers the most damaging evidence. The subject's fingerprints and male DNA are on the missing woman's car door. The subject's repeated, emphatic denials, no way, no chance, clash with the detective's calm assertion of forensic proof. Psychologically, this is a moment of cognitive dissonance. The subject either genuinely believes his own denial, a sign of pathological confidence, or is desperately clinging to a failing narrative. His offer to give a DNA swab suggests he still hopes the evidence will exonerate him, or he is testing the detective's bluff.
I'll get a guy in here to take a buccal swab. It'll take just a second, and then we'll take you across the hall. Okay?
Okay.
All right. This detective's name is Titus. He's going to help you out with that real quick here.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
We're just gonna take a swab of the inside of your cheek, is that correct?
Yes.
Just so we can compare it with DNA. Okay. One more, we'll just, it's not intrusive or anything like that. It's just a little cotton swab basically, and I'm just gonna rub it on the inside of your cheek just to get some cells from the inside of your cheek. It's painless. You might have had it done. Might have had it done on previous occasions. Okay. You just open your mouth for me. I'm just gonna. There you go. Okay. That was off your left side of your inside cheek. And get one more. Open up one more time for me, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. These are the two samples, and I'm just going to drop them into that bag and take the rest of this junk with me. Let me go talk to Lieutenant Galicki, and I'm not sure what kind of instructions that he had for you, but we'll get this ball rolling for you, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're, unless you got some revelation while I was gone, anything you want to talk about, I'm serious. I am, like I told you on the street, I am all ears. I'm willing to listen to anything you got. Back to what we said on the street, if we could get to a spot where your prints on her car are a problem. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why there's people excavating at your place. I mean, that's why it's tough. That's tough to overcome. That's why I want you to tell me what I don't know is where she's at, and if you're unwilling to go there, then this is my last contact with you. We're going to go over there and we're going to book you. We're going to fingerprint you. I appreciate your cooperation with the DNA, and I'll do, like I said before, if you want to take me, I know what you said, and I'm respecting what you told me, that you're not involved in this, but if you want to take me to where I can find some bones, this doesn't have to be murder one. You know what I'm saying? She's dead, clear enough. I'm afraid you got yourself in a situation that you couldn't get out of. She ends up dead. You're thinking, oh hell, what am I going to do now? And then you hit the body. That's what I think. That's what I've been, trying to preach at you. And I'm trying to be fair with you, because I don't want you to get uglied up for something maybe that you don't have to. So if you got anything to say at all, I'm here listening to you, and I'll bend over backwards to help you through it. I will. I can picture myself getting in some sort of physical confrontation with a woman like that, and then, you're going to be a lot stronger than her. If you defend yourself, she probably goes down like a sack of potatoes, and then you're like, holy, I'm just saying, I can picture it. I really can. And I'm not, screwing around with you when I'm saying this scenario. I think it's real. I think it's a real possibility, and although it would be hard to admit, you're going to have trouble overcoming the physical evidence as far as linking you to this thing. It's hard. That's hard stuff. And anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse, and although I'm good at it, I mean, I'm tired, you're tired, and there was nothing better that I would love to do to go out with our spade and come up with some body bones and then talk to the prosecutor's office about, hey, this was a self-defense thing, but then he hit the body. That makes a lot of issues go away. It clears up our case. You salvage your life. It's, I know I've preached this to you. You're probably tired of hearing this sermon, but it just, from my perspective, it's your only reasonable angle where you can get yourself out of this, and we get what we need, which is to close this case and solve this case for Bonnie and for her family, and give them some closure, give them something to put in a casket, and finish this thing. And I don't know. I'll leave that ball in your court. I'll talk to you all day if you want to talk. I really will. I understand the situation. I see the stress in your eyes. I mean, I know this has been a long road. It's been a long road for me too, for different reasons. But this case is wearing on me too. And if I can assist you or help you, or I'm telling what I told you out there on the street is true, I'll go to the prosecutor myself and try to get the best package I can get with regard to concealing the death instead of any kind of homicide. Because I think the best case for you is that our victim here is not Mrs. Cleaver. I mean, she's not. You know what I mean? I'd like to paint her to you like she's Mother Teresa, but she was not. She's still a human, and I want to solve it, and I want to fix this, and I want to fix it for everybody involved, and that includes you. So I'm just, if there's something you want to say, if you're even thinking about it, man, I'm begging you to bounce it off me, because I don't think you'll regret it. I think if there's a body out there and you know where it's at, man, I think that's what you should do. I really do. I think that's what you should do for everybody's sake, for you, for her, for the family, for that. That's all I got to say. And I mean, I'm getting a similar response as I got from you before, so I'm not gonna waste my time anymore, and I'm not gonna waste yours. But I appreciate you talking to us today. I wish we'd have maybe done this a little better before. But
I wish that we could have, if it had to come to a face-to-face, discussion. I wish we could have done it earlier without, you know, being, you know, helicopter flying over my house.
Right,
and
I get it.
everything.
It is and still is a circus, and to tell you the truth, it's, with the dogs hitting out there, all it's doing is complicating it. We're gonna have to go overnight out there, and we're gonna have to, your wife's probably gonna have to make some arrangements to stay somewhere else. I'll probably have to assign a couple people to stay out there, and it's just a mess. You know, it just really is, and not as much as you, but I really want this case to go away. I mean, probably second only to you, I want this case to go away. And I'm willing to jump through any hoops you got for me to jump through. If you show me a hoop, I'll jump through it, but, you know, I'm not, you know,
Well,
I'm not a miracle worker here.
You know, I'm trying to be cooperative with
I know.
everything, and, you know, I was instructed by the attorneys to not to say anything, and maybe that's what I should have done, is just shut my yap and just, you know, not say anything.
Well, I mean, if you mostly, you know, if you're telling the truth and you're being cooperative, and
I don't see, there's no way my fingerprints are all over the door of that car.
they are. So, okay, well, I'll just put that in your lap and you kick it around, and I mean, I told you I haven't lied to you on this case. I haven't. It's the truth. It's God's honest truth, and you know, that's where we're at. Let me shut this thing down, and we'll go across the hall. Unless you got something else for me. I mean, I'll sit here all day, but we've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, I see that it's painful. It is. It's pain. It ain't the same kind of pain. This case is just more frustrating for me because it freaking won't go away. But you know, I will. I'll sit and listen for. I mean, I've been working on this case for 3 months. It won't hurt me to sit here the rest of the day. But I mean, what I said to you before is true. I see you as the kind of guy that this shouldn't have happened to, and the kind of guy that is a decent man and works for a living and has got a nice home and pays taxes and took a kid in that had a bad life, and all that's good stuff, which makes you a great candidate for painting a picture of, I tried to go work it out with this woman, I tried to go talk to her to try to clean this mess up, and she blew up on me, and I didn't expect what I got. I mean, Roger, if that happened, man, there's no better time than now. I mean, other than a better time would have been at 8 o'clock this morning. You know, we could have stopped a whole bunch of digging and nonsense, but whatever. I told you then, I ain't mad at you. Unfortunately, this is my job, so I got to do it. And I'm doing it the best I can do it. You know, some people do it better than I do it, but I ain't got a grudge. I don't get any extra brownie points for bringing extra police cars or helicopters. It's no feather in my cap. It's just a big pain in the neck to manage. And then later in the day, anything that's jacked up, unfortunately, I get to take the blame for it. So I'm just telling you, you said before, like, I think maybe you like to come out here and tear up my stuff. That's nothing could be farther than the truth. I wish so bad this case was somewhere else, on somebody else's desk, in somebody else's office. This is so not typical of an Alton homicide that it's like a polar opposite. You know, usually ours are gang related, you know, dope related, drug rips, violent confrontations, you know, and we always have a body, and then we got to go find a suspect. This one we got a suspect with prints on our victim car, and we got no body, so we're kind of working it backwards. And that's what I told you out there, man. It's, you know, it's a great deal if you can show me a body, if you can, I'm telling you. But I know that's your business, it's your baby, and you handle that the way you want to handle it. And if the problem is if it comes up out there, you know, if we come up with any kind of body, you know, and then we bones or whatever, DNA samples, anything, we lab it, take it to ISP lab, and they come back, yep, that's Bonnie, because we got a DNA standard for her, finally. So, I mean, you can imagine how that works. If we get a DNA hit of her on your property, I'm just saying, if that comes to fruition, you know, then the state's going to be like, I don't want to talk about concealing a death. I want to talk about, you know, murder one. I mean, it's your business. You do what you want. And And if you want, if you stay overnight, for now, or you're obstructing justice, if you stay overnight and you decide you want to talk some more, I mean, I will literally spend as much time talking about this as you want to. I don't want you to feel like we didn't give you your chance to, tell your side of the story, because that's basically a good portion of this day. I've been doing everything but begging you to tell me your side of the story, if you got one. And you've, told me a story, but I guess not necessarily the one I was expecting to hear. So, if you got something else.
I don't.
Okay, well, I'm going to take you across the hall, and we'll book you in. If you, the second you want to talk to me again about anything, you tell one of those jailers. We'll come get you. We'll bring you back over here and see what you got to say. I mean, don't think once I send you over there that I ain't interested in talking to you again. I'm not. I'll answer any questions you got. Talk to you as long as you want. So. All right.
So where's Monica and Nathan?
Monica, Nathan, we will be, I guess, I don't exactly know where Monica's at. She was talking to Sergeant Cooley on the street. Nathan came in here and spoke for a while, and I believe confirmed about some sort of text message from him to your wife about you being an Alton on that day. And I believe he has since been taken to Monica, or at least is in the process of being taken to Monica. I think that's the plan. So that's another thing I wanted to avoid. I really wanted to avoid hassling them all day long. For the record, I don't really like when people hate the police department. So, I mean, I'm trying to be fair, and it's a bad deal, but I mean, I want you to, I'm giving you your opportunity. So, anyway, we'll take you across there, and hold that thought 1 second. I think Monica is still talking to Sergeant Cooley, and apparently they're having a good conversation related to this case. I don't know the details, but my understanding she's cooperating. I don't know exactly what Nathan was doing. They were going to transport him to her. Now I don't know where they're going tonight, because I don't think they can go there. So I don't know. That's stressful too.
Absolutely unbelievable.
I don't know, man. I told you, we physically linked you to, and we have, and you're going to have to come up with, okay, I went there, I talked to her at length, but, I mean, we got to start somewhere. So, I mean, what I'm getting at is, I don't think I didn't go to the nursing home. I didn't talk to her. I don't know what you're talking about. We've never talked. I've never touched the truck. I don't even know if I've seen that. I don't think that's going to work. And so, just my suggestion, I think you're going to have to change gears from there and come up with something that works into that evidence a little better. Because that's like driving a car into a brick wall. It just don't work. It don't go together very good. Any other reason you went there to talk to her? Other than, like, I was suggesting you went there not for the purpose of violence, but for the purpose of working this thing out. And she's a hard woman to work things out with on occasion, from my understanding. And especially with the Heather thing, that is a bad topic. It was a bad topic with Bonnie. She blew up on a few people verbally over that topic. So, I'm listening if you got something, man.
I don't. This is just unbelievable.
It is. It is. It's an odd case. It's one of the oddest I've ever had to deal with.
So when do I get to talk to my attorney?
You can talk to an attorney if you want. we can call one now if you want. I mean, I'll give you a phone call on my cell if you want. Or you can go over there and call over there if you'd like. You want to do that?
Well,
Okay, well, hang on 1 second.
Roger Carroll was found guilty by a Jersey County jury in March 2020 and subsequently sentenced in October 2020 to 65 years in prison for the first-degree murder of 47-year-old Bonnie Woodward, who disappeared from her workplace parking lot in Alton, Illinois, on June 25, 2010.